Hello, everyone, and welcome to my new show, Out of Nowhere. It's a brand new show. I've been doing this for about 4 months. This new show, Out of Nowhere. I used to be on Beacon of Light Radio, and before that, I was on Blog Talk Radio. So I've been doing radio about 10 years now. We've got a terrific guest on my show today. His name is Jason Kenzie. Jason is an author, director, animal photojournalist who has traveled the world, immortalizing all kinds of people and their exotic wildlife companions. Can we please welcome Jason to the show? Hello there.
Hello, Bob. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So you started photographing exotic animals and went into making short documentaries. Eventually, why did you choose to get into documentary filmmaking then?
Well, I kind of fell into it. I started as a wedding photographer and a event photographer, and that was a lot of fun. I was having fun meeting the people and traveling and doing, like, when you do events and you do weddings, you always meet different people. You always travel to other places. And then one day, someone at an event came up and said, would you take photos of my dog? And I said, yeah, I'll do photos of your dog. And that started my pet photography because I had such a good experience with this dog photography that I started. He recommended friends with animals, like with dogs and then
Yeah.
cats. And then I went straight into, one day someone said I have a caiman or like a crocodile, like, creature in a specially built uh, bathtub in his basement. So I went to his place, and no one believed me when I told him, hey, I'm going to take photos of this caiman creature. And, so I went and bought myself my first video camera because I was adamant I was going to prove to people have these animals. And that photo shoot was amazing. Like, and then his friends that had even bigger exotic animals, like tigers and bears, kangaroos, monkeys, they started calling me up and asking to have, photography done of their animals. And I'd bring my video camera and I would interview them, and I would make them into short little documentaries and I put them on YouTube called Jason Kenzie's Animal Adventures. And yeah, if you Google it, you'll find they're basically behind the scenes of my photo shoots. And yeah, that's how I started doing uh, exotic animals. Sometimes it was very dangerous. A guy had two 10-foot alligators as pets, and they were really friendly to him, but basically wanted to eat me, which is
Ah,
terrible because I'm pretty sure that I would have given the gators indigestion for sure, 100%. I'm pretty sure I don't taste very good.
I can imagine, yeah. Yes, strange, isn't it? Um, but, I noticed, what have you learnt about photography and the dangerous creatures? It must have been risky being so close to them. What have you learnt about terms of survival?
You talk about learning like how to survive with like animals, knowing.
Yeah,
So with wolves, so there was a lady that owned five wolves, Arctic wolves and gray wolves, and I learned a lot just being within. So my motto is, if I'm going to interview you and your animal, there can't be any cages. I have to be able to hug the animal, so to speak. So I didn't want cages because that people wanted to see me interact with the animals. If there was cages, I might as well just go to the zoo and just put the camera through the bars. I wanted to interact. So meeting the wolves, and watching them how they act with each other and how they acted with me, uh, taught me a lot about certain stuff that you don't do in the wild, especially if you come across wolves. Uh, when you come face to face with the wolf, the last thing you do is you don't run. Uh, you try and not make eye contact with the wolf either. You can put your eye down or whatnot, but you have to make sure that the wolf knows that you're alpha. So as much as you don't want to do it, you could also start doing like snarly moves, like that. And sometimes, if you're lucky, the wolf may not jump on you and rip your face off. But once the wolf realizes that you're the alpha, you act big. I mean, obviously, you don't want to stay around, try and back out. Um, you can climb trees with wolves, but wolves are learning really fast how to build ladders. Okay, that's a lie. But who knows? Who knows nowadays what's happening in the animal kingdom?
Yeah.
They're getting smarter and smarter.
Do you consider yourself fearless then? Does it
No,
anything
I get
bother
scared.
you?
No, I get scared all the time, for sure. Like if you ever watch any of my documentaries, like especially when I go after, these Bigfoot creatures, I'm always scared. But I have a rule with anyone I go out with is don't run. If something happens, don't run. Stay beside me. We have a better chance if we're together, because with two of us, if we look bigger to whatever the creature is. And I'm obviously Bigfoot is allegedly 9-10 feet tall. So, but because there's two of us, they might be less likely to come completely right to you. Now, but I'm talking about other animals in the forest, like bears, cougars. Now, very seldom will cougar attack you if there's more than one of you. If there's two, three, four, it's very rare. There has been a few cases where cougars have attacked two people, but usually they're children. So the
Mm.
chances of you being attacked by a cougar when there's two of you is very, very slim. And bears don't want to be around you anyway. When they smell you or they hear you, they're gone within seconds.
Yeah, people tend to run away from bears, and that would be the worst thing ever, I presume.
It is. It is. You never run. Um, Stand backwards. Start moving backwards. Make lots of noise. I don't know how many times I've been walking along a trail or walking even through the forest, and all of a sudden I turn around and there's either a black bear or a grizzly walking, not towards me, but just walking to the side. And I'm like, like hoping that my breathing, like hoping that, if I don't make a sound, it's going to like not know I'm there, which is kind of stupid because obviously it knows I'm there,
It can
especially
smell
when
you.
it's 20 feet away.
I know about Bigfoot. You have gone into doing Bigfoot research. Tell us about some of the discoveries you have made on your expeditions.
So I've captured, so I have a documentary film series called Searching for Sasquatch. There's about 14 documentaries out now. You can watch them all out on either Tubi or Plex.tv or Amazon Prime Video. If you just Google my name, Jason Kenzie, um, Bigfoot or Sasquatch, you'll find where you can watch them. Um, I have captured on film eye shine of creatures that are looking at me from behind trees multiple times. I've captured audio of some incredible roars. So I went to Texas with a Bigfoot research group, and we were in in the forest, and all of a sudden the entire forest around us just erupted with roars and howls and screams, and it was just and it went on for like an hour. So here I am filming everything, and it was like, oh my god. Well, scared because I didn't, when it started, I was like, wow. Well, I was actually more intrigued. It actually it was going on for so long that literally this is what was happening. So, Frank, you're gonna cook up those hot dogs for for the fire, and oh, well, another howl. Okay, so anyway, about those hot dogs. Okay, you're gonna make those hot. Like it got to the point there was so many howls and so many screams that it went on for so long that we kind of got numb to it. I had just been filming for like 15 minutes straight, all the howls, and yeah, and so I've captured. Um, I like a lot of times I capture eye shine of these creatures watching me from behind when I have the camera facing me. I do have an audio of a. I don't know exactly. I wasn't there to see what made the exact, but it's a a maybe a Bigfoot roar. Would you like to hear it?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to show
Yes,
it.
please.
So this was captured in Minnesota. Maybe you can tell me what you think this is. Did you hear that last bit where it went?
Yeah. My God.
Is that crazy?
That's
That was
crazy and
that was
quite loud as well.
yeah. That was captured in Minnesota on the Red Lake Indian Band on their territory, and they have like thousands and thousands of hectares of forest that not even they go hiking in, especially at night, because they say that these um, the forest people will get you. So they when went there, I went there to investigate and told them I was with the She Squatchers, and the audio was given to Jen from the She Squatchers, and we went to the area and we went into the forest searching for any evidence, and we heard some howls and we found some tree breaks. I do have another audio here from the same time, and it has about five of them all freaking out and howling and screaming. Do you want to hear that one?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a minute long. They're like all talking or mad.
Yeah.
You hear them in the background. Give it a second. They freak out. Here it comes. Hear that one in the back?
They're very
Crazy.
territorial, aren't they?
What's
They
that?
don't want you. They're very territorial.
Yeah, and
Jason.
and the thing is, I always, when I tell people don't run, it's like, where are you going to go? If you're still standing there, if something is howling or screaming at you and you're still there, that means they don't want to kill you, at least not yet. Because if they want to kill you, they're just going to walk out, grab your head, and twist it off, really. So there's no point in running, maybe backing out slowly. But, it's so funny because I don't know, there's been so many researchers, some of them I've gone out with, as soon as something happens, they want to leave, like right away. Like
Yeah.
one time I went out with a researcher, and he talked about, I have this area where all they start, where I've seen them and they howl. And I went all the way out there, got into his truck. We got out there. Must have took an hour to drive out to into the middle of nowhere. on a logging road, and we parked. We walked into the forest, and it was nighttime, and all of a sudden something howled at us, probably 100 feet from us, and I'm like, oh, and he's like, oh, let's get out of here. That was it, and I had to grab him to stop him from
from
running.
running away.
And then he was like adamant, no, 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 I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. Let's go. I'm like, just give it a second. I just want to howl back. And he's like, no, no, I want to go. And so as I'm trying to stop him from running off, and we're backing out, and I'm howling. I didn't even have time to put my video camera on, right? Because it just happened so fast. I was all set to start filming some pieces, and I'm howling
Yeah.
I'm dragging, this guy's dragging me back because I'm holding him, and I'm like, oh, just a second, give me a second, I want to see if they help. He was just so, and I'm like, wow. I was like, but I don't know how many times I've had a camera person out with me, and something happens, a tree knock or a howl, and they freak out and they want to leave right away, and I'm holding them, or sometimes I'm chasing them to the forest.
Oh my God! I know.
Only because they have my video camera. I'm like, give me back my video camera. Yeah, I've had that happen a few times too.
I know. Briefly, we spoke about black cats. Now, Steph would just say, black cat seen yesterday up on the woodlands, Old Pig Top. That's somewhere where Steph lives. I've been up to have a look for any prints. Couldn't find any, but there is an area where the long grass has been pushed down.
Oh yeah. Why the black cat? I'm surprised that no one's trapped it yet. Like really trapped it, because every other place that has had these black panthers, where these jaguars, South America, the Florida Everglades, even the panthers we have out here. I live only 35 minutes away from one of an area that has one of the largest cougar population out in that area, and they capture these cats on film and even in traps all the time. And usually if someone sees one, they usually go out when they trap them, they find them right away. I'm surprised that England, they haven't trapped one, or at least captured a really sharp photo
Yeah,
of
well,
one.
a lot of the photos people have taken have been from a distance, and they get debunked as a normal cat.
Yeah, house cat. Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
they
And
get debunked because they don't
not to
want.
mention half the time when you're trying to take the picture, you're like, okay, it's fucking blurring, like they're freaking out, right?
I know Rebecca's just saying about the sounds. They are very peculiar sounds, not like any animal I've ever heard. Thank you for sharing that, Jason.
Hey, no worries. There's not too many people that's heard it yet. I have it in the documentary, The Minnesota Roars. If you can find it online, Amazon Prime Video, you can actually purchase it for like $1. So
Okay.
if you guys have time to watch any of the documentaries, I mean, it's a lot of adventure, lots of eyewitnesses that talk about their encounters, and yeah, it's only a matter of time before I, get so close I get a really good shot of one. Um, I'd love to go to England. Uh, someone, someone take me to England, and we'll go do a documentary on the Black Panthers of Britain, uh, and maybe the
Well, that
little
might be a
people.
good
I'd
one.
love to do little people also.
Yeah. You've traveled through a lot of mountainous and forest areas all around North America. What is the coolest place you have ever been to?
So one of the coolest places here where I live in British Columbia is called Mount Shiam. It's a kind of a long hike, and the last 300 meters up the mountain is quite steep. But it's a beautiful hike, and you are hiking among white-capped mountains all around you, and you have to jump over uh, little tiny rivers, and then there's waterfalls along the way too. That's one of the more beautiful places, and it's in the heart of the Bigfoot country, out in that area too. Michigan, the UP of Michigan, that's another place that's been pretty amazing for some of the encounters I've had. I remember there was five of us, and we're in the forests in Michigan, and as soon as we walked in through the forest, something crashed through the forest, and as it's running, it's taking down, uh, like it's not trying to avoid the branches, it's actually running through them, and you could hear them as it's taking them down, and then it's stepping on like old logs, and you could hear the logs crack underneath it as it's running. And then we turned around, and we could see creatures peeking from behind trees looking at us, like three or four of them, just, and there was five of us. We're all looking at this, and here I'm running towards the area because I'm determined to try and get close enough to try and get a good footage. And I could hear them running through the forest. And then at one point, I walked away from everyone just about 25 feet, and I came around some bushes, and boom, they're standing about 7 feet with something with these bright eyes shine. And it by the time I pushed record on my video camera, it ducked down and went behind this bush, and I was standing there with my video camera just filming it as it was looking from behind trees, doing this, very ape-like. And I'm standing there kind of shaking because before this happened, everyone's saying, I think they're young. They're young. Their parents can't be too far away. And so while I'm standing there, I'm picturing in my head, if this is a Sasquatch creature, the parents are going to come up behind me and just hit me on the top of the head. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. And then I called out to one of the researchers, and as he walked over, it ran off in the forest, and you could hear it running. And yeah, it was pretty incredible. And I have that all on film, and I think that's in number 6.
Do you think they are interdimensional, or do you think they're real?
Well, it's a hard one. I mean, I just, it's unbelievable how they can get so close to me. They're like standing behind me in the forest within 5 feet, and I didn't see it in real time. And there is footage out there of showing something transparent. I would not be surprised. I've interviewed quite a few people who have said they've seen them come out of portals. I have physically seen the lights in the forest. Only 2 weeks ago, I was in Wisconsin, and we're in the middle of the forest, and we could see a bright light, and it looked like a car tail light, and it
Right?
was just moving through the forest. And I'm running towards it, yelling, "Excuse me, hello, hello," as I'm watching it. And then all of a sudden, I look down, and there's a footprint, like this big foot, big. Well, it wasn't actually that big. It was probably about 13 inches long. And then I totally, it was like my ADHD was like just kicked in. I'm like, hello, hello, oh, look, a squirrel. Right? It was like, oh, look, a footprint. I'm like, screw the light. I'm looking at this footprint. And so here we are. We spend like 5 minutes. And I forgot to mention that not even less than 5 minutes earlier, I had seen eye shine jump behind a tree. Like it moved. I was moving my light. And there's about 6 of us. And I'm moving the light. And suddenly it hit it. And it's as if imagine you just got hit by light, and you were like, oh, and then that's what it did. It was like, oh, and then moved behind a tree. So we went kind of, after I kind of freaked out and said, I saw some eye shine, and everyone's looking, and then we start walking really fast towards it. and it ran off. I went around the tree, and sure enough, there was this little tiny teepee of sticks that was no higher than like 2 feet,
Oh,
like a meter high. Like it was like a little structure of right there behind the tree. And then we moved on, and then we saw the light. And it was like I said, it looked like a car headlight, and which is impossible because if you we were like so deep in this forest area that we were nowhere near any roads, and it was moving through the trees.
right. Because I know Rebecca just said something very similar to me. What I said, Jason, do you believe in Bigfoot live here on Earth, or any believe they could be interdimensional or from somewhere else?
So, I mean, obviously, if they are dimensional and they can transport, okay, they could be anywhere. Are they in England? I don't know. That is a hard
Yes.
question. I mean, as people physically seen these Bigfoot creatures in Britain,
Yeah,
or
they
are they
have.
just
Yeah.
finding footprints? I
No,
would love
it's
to interview
been
someone
seen.
who has
Been
physically
seen.
seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So if you, yeah, if anyone out there physically has seen a Bigfoot creature
It's
or a
like
family of them,
we dogmen that have
say
seen.
again.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you have the Lake
Um,
District. The Lake
Most
District,
interesting thing, how do you manage?
say again?
Yeah. There's lots, believe it or not, in the UK, up the north, you got the lakes and everything. There's lots of forests up there.
Yes.
Believe it or not, lots in Scotland. So they stretch for miles and miles and miles. Lots of green. We have loads of green in the UK. You've only got to get out of towns, and there's loads of places where animals could live.
Well, I've been to so many different locations throughout North America where I find very similar structures, tree structures, footprints. I've found trees that were ripped out of the ground, turned upside down, jammed into the ground.
Yeah,
So I wonder if people find, these tree structures in Britain as well. I haven't done too much research in Britain, and I would love to go to Britain and join a group, a Bigfoot research group out there, and go into the forest and film as one of my documentaries, searching for Sasquatch, the British Bigfoot. I'll
well,
go out there with a cup of tea and
I like that cup of tea. Oh yeah, there's a couple of main guys in the UK you want to be in touch with. One is Paul Sinclair, a good friend of mine is Paul. You want to get in touch with Paul? Um, I think you'll find him a very interesting guy to talk to, very knowledgeable about lots of different subjects as well. Um, I want to ask you, how do you manage to pump out so many documentaries in a single year? And how did you manage to get so many done in such a short time?
there's a lot of hours of editing, a lot. Uh, there are days that I don't even see outside. Uh, so I'll go out. It doesn't take long for me to film a documentary. It might take me a week to film. I just got back from traveling some of the states, and I filmed five Bigfoot documentaries in 2 months. So I basically was going from one place to the next, meeting eyewitnesses, and going onto the adventure into the forest to collect evidence and to collect, the videos and stuff that I need to put something together. Uh, it's very important to get the eyewitness accounts, but I really love the adventure of it. So to actually show people that, I go into the forest, and I have a great team of researchers that I go out with, and I have no life.
Well, that. Yeah, well, that's what happens when good researchers just get on with it and go out every morning or every night. Or um, I've noticed you did a couple of documentaries on the subject. Even was there anything so freaky that you could not be shown on the final edits?
So, okay. So I saw in real time, but in the edit, oh yeah. So one time I was filming, so it's I think it's number 7, and it's called the Night Stalkers, and so we went into the Colorado Rockies, and I was with this great Bigfoot research team, and at one point one of the researchers was filming down the trail, waiting for us to come, and he's yelling. He's like, "Come on, are you guys coming?" Da 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 da, and we're walking up, and we're probably about 1,000 feet down the trail, and he's filming down the trail towards us, but it's nighttime. All of a sudden, you see an eye shine. It peeks out from behind the tree in front of him, maybe about 30 feet from him. He didn't see it in real time. He had no idea. It stuck its head out. You see the eye shine, and then he turns the camera and continues walking up. He walked, so we caught up with him, and he walked another probably 1,000 feet down the trail, and then all of a sudden there was two of them, and they were like maybe 40 feet away from us, and they're looking from behind the trees. So all of a sudden I walk down, and in the edit, when I'm editing it, I see some eye shine as he turns, like, so we're looking at the two creatures looking at us from behind the trees, and then he turns the camera, and I see eye shine on the camera down the way. So here I'm freaking out, going, "Oh my gosh, we caught one! It was watching us from down the trail." And then I realized after looking at another angle that it was me and my flashlight down the trail. And I didn't realize, I forgot that, I remember I went down the trail because I was determined to go up and around as if I was going to ambush, the creatures going around the other way. So and then that was freaky at the moment when I saw it on camera, and then realized, oh, that was me, which, to be honest, that's freaky anyway. So, me on film.
Of course it is. Can you smell them when you're getting close to them? Then
Sometimes, sometimes it's interesting because their musky smell, or their disgusting smell, it basically floats through the wind. So so it's as if you could see it, it looked like a blob of stink blowing through the wind, and then it would hit you, and it would pass right through you. Because not only have I smelled this stink for like 30 seconds, but I've interviewed so many people who said they smelled it, and it only lasted for a second, and then it was gone. And the only way I can determine is, imagine a big flock of bugs floating through the air, and then it hits you, and all the bugs hit you, and then it pass right through you. So that would be like the stink. It's like a flying blob of stink, and it hits you and then passes right through you. That's the only way I can explain
yeah.
what I
What do
think
you think
this.
about the What did you think about the Roger Patterson film footage?
It's interesting. I do have mixed feelings about the, you know, is it real or is it a person in a suit? At one point it looks like a person in a suit, then at another point it doesn't. It's
Yeah.
just it's up there. Half the Bigfoot world believes it's real, the other half don't believe it's real. I wasn't there. I haven't really met the actual person that filmed it, Bob himself. Well, he didn't actually film it, but he was there. So it's hard for me to say exactly what I really think about it.
Yeah, I've seen it. They've done so many documentaries on it now,
Yeah,
where they tried people in a suit. It doesn't look right. The strides are different. You can see the muscles in it moving.
yeah. The thing that was discouraging is when there was an expert that brought out the most advanced lidar camera. He had this lidar camera last year,
Right,
and he went to the exact area, and he spent like all day walking back and forth with this advanced lidar system, and he was able to map. And with the lidar you can get right down to like a millisecond of a millimeter of height,
right.
everything. And when and so they were trying to measure, because there's a stump that's still there called the smiley face or the happy face stump. It's still there, and Patty had walked right past it, so they used that as the measuring. And so after he, went home and did all the calculations, he determined that the creature was about, I think he said it was 6'1" or 6'2", like it was in between 6'1", 6'2". And
Right.
I'm like, I don't know about you, Bob, but I know hundreds of people that are 6'1". Right,
Oh, definitely.
my best friend is almost 6'6". So,
Well, I know somebody who's 7'2".
oh wow. Well,
He,
one of the guys,
he's massive.
yeah, one of the guys I go out with, he's 6'8". So, when I was watching, and it was coming out, he was going to say how tall. I was like, please be 7 feet tall. Please be 7 feet tall. Please, please, please. And then he's like, it's roughly about 6'1", 6'2". And I'm like, what the hey? I totally kind of burst my bubble a bit. Now, obviously, he may have been off a little bit, right? But I doubt that he would be off by a whole foot, right? Or, you know, I mean, so many people say that these creatures are between 7 feet tall and and 10 feet tall,
Yeah, yeah, of
right?
course I do. Yeah.
Very seldom. I mean, people say, well, the young ones might be, 6 feet tall or 6'5",
Yeah. I
right?
know it.
But allegedly, that creature did not look like a young one, right?
Rebecca's asking, Jason, have you seen any Bigfoot ablutions? Thank you. If Bob didn't ask first.
Well, I haven't had a daytime sighting. When I first started doing my Bigfoot research, and my documentaries, I was probably a 20% believer. But after doing all the research and all the traveling and all the different locations and the crazy stuff that I've seen in the forest, I'm about a 50-50 believer. And the only reason is because I haven't had a daytime sighting. I joke that, for me to be a 100% believer, I need Bigfoot to come out and slap me in the face, carry me off.
Have you had any Bigfoot? Have you seen any footprints of
Yes.
Bigfoot?
Yeah, I've seen footprints. I have. So this was one caught in. This one was found in Colorado in the Rockies, and this was literally the day after, because I called the Night Stalkers. So the two that was looking at us and the one that peeked behind the tree. This was the next day, right? So you
All
could
right.
see like. So the reason why this toe is so big is because the researcher that I was with said that it turned, so it's munched it. But you can see so it's about
Ah,
13
right.
inches tall, long, and about 5 inches wide. So I'm still not saying this is done by a Bigfoot creature because it's I wasn't there um,
No.
to see
Yeah.
what exactly made it, but I have seen trees that were ripped out. of the ground turned upside down. I've some of the tree structures I've seen big ones, trees that were, moved into these giant X's. That was fun. I love finding the big tree structures, because it just tells me that even 5 men couldn't lift these big trees up and move them over.
Have you ever interviewed Native American Indians?
Yep, yep. In the very first documentary I
What
did, the
what does
First
they
Nation.
have to say about it then,
Well,
Jason?
they actually said that they call them the forest people, and they told me they were the protector of the forests, and they're the ones that pointed me into the direction where to go. And I went way up into the mountains and found a lake in the middle of the mountains that had like hundreds of these giant footprints walking right through it. And I had a drone. So I took the drone and I droned the lake, and you could see it on the drone. I took that footage to the First Nations people and showed it to them. And they said that I had found the migration path of the Sasquatch people from Alaska all the way to California, like their migration down. So that was exciting. So, and when I launched that documentary, it kind of blew up and it kind of went viral around the Bigfoot communities. And that's what started. And then I decided to make number 2 and number 3, 4. And now I'm up to 14. And now I
I
have 5
suppose
that I'm
I
editing
suppose
right
you get into it a lot, Jason, and you want to do more.
now.
You want
Yes.
to go to different states. Do you think they migrate, some of them, to other
Well,
states?
like any animal, I believe they follow the food source. So in the winter, when it gets too cold, they go where the animals go because the food source. So it almost makes sense. Of course, that would throw out the theory that they can, you know, jump through holes like portals, right? I always hear the argument of, well, they could go invisible, they can cloak. And the thing is, if they could cloak, if they could turn invisible, why would they ever come out of being invisible? Why? I mean, people see them and people go, well, they don't want to be seen. Then
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I understand
why would
that.
they
Yeah.
go across roads? Why would they okay. When I was in Minnesota Roars, we're sitting around a campfire. 2 hours goes by. I'm getting antsy because nothing's happening. I mean, it was beautiful out. I'm sitting there watching the stars in the sky, like the shooting stars. It was amazing,
Mm.
absolutely beautiful. Middle of the forests, very little light source, like light. Um, and I stand up. I said, I want to do a howl. And obviously, a couple of the researchers I were with rolled their eyes and said, "Don't do that. It was stupid. That's just stupid. Don't howl." I said, well, I've been here for 2 hours. I mean, what the heck? Well, how can it hurt anything? Oh, it just looks stupid. It doesn't work. I'm like, you know what? Just for shits and giggles, let me give it a try. I stood up. I howled. Bob, as I'm sitting in front of you right now, I swear to you, within 30 seconds of me howling, a creature howled behind us. We're in full talking, and I'm like, oh, it howled. Then another one howled in front of us, probably a couple of kilometers away. And then the coyotes started. And I love it when the coyotes start because
Oh God, yeah.
I can tell the difference between the coyotes and whatever this other thing is. And I was like, wow. But the whole point of that story is, if he didn't howl behind us, and he was close, he must have been within a few hundred feet in the forest, like probably watching us. If he didn't make a sound, we would not have known they were there. Why? Why would, if they didn't make any sounds, why would they make a sound? Because to them it's dangerous. You wonder why frogs will stop croaking when a predator is nearby, because they don't want to draw attention to themselves.
Mm,
It's natural. Humans do the same thing. If something is in danger, they're like, "Oh," they're quiet.
exactly.
So you get these creatures that will roar at you. Yes, they want to tell you, hey, this is our territory, get the fuck out. But when they howl, so it's yeah, it's interesting the stuff that I've seen and heard out there.
Do you do tree knocking as well?
I do, I do, and one reason I howl is because I want to tell the creatures I'm there. And I know I hear this all the time. Trust me, those creatures know you're there, even before you get there, which might be
I'm
true.
sure.
But in my head, I'm like, okay, what if there's a Bigfoot 5 kilometers away and he's eating? I howl and he's like, oh, what was that? And wants to come and check us out. So that's why I like to howl. It's just that I mean, I don't know what I'm telling him. For all I know, I'm like going, your ex-girlfriend has her knickers in the like. I don't know what I'm saying when I'm howling to them. For all I know, I might be offending them, and they're freaking out.
What's the? I know you go to different states in the north and down the south. What's the one of the best states to go looking for Bigfoot?
Well, I've had a lot of activity in Minnesota, so in Michigan, the UP of Michigan. Like Michigan just seems to be like a huge hotspot for these Bigfoot creatures. I mean, I live very close to Harrison Hot Springs, and I've interviewed quite a few eyewitnesses out here who have physically seen these creatures. I've had a few strange stuff happen out here in the forest, but it seems like Michigan, I've had some of the most amazing experiences have been right in Michigan and in the UP. I mean, I'm having so much fun doing this that I even made a comic book. It's a graphic novel called
Oh, let's
Searching for
have a look.
Sasquatch. And so you
Oh,
see
search.
there's me. See, there's
Yeah, oh,
me
yeah.
right there in the middle.
Children.
And there's the she squatchers. There's Tammy being hung upside down. Another creature over here. There's David Dominique and Todd Parsons. And it's called the Hidden Treasure of Bigfoot Valley. And it has yeah, it's all graphic. It has a lot of
Oh, yeah.
action in it,
Very
and
good.
yeah, I published it last year. No, actually this year, 2024. So you can find that just by googling my name, Jason Kenzie comic book.
Do you get any young children wanting to go with you on one of these
Oh yeah,
camps?
I do. I was just out when I was in Wisconsin. I was just out. A dad had brought his, I think it was a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old with us. And this is when we had the eye shine and we had the lights and we had the footprint. And he was a tracker. So the dad was a local and he was a professional tracker. So it was amazing to watch him work and some of the stuff that he was finding. And his children, they had the best time. Even when we were running after and we got these weird owl sounds. So he does the perfect owl hoot. And
Oh,
so
right.
there was these owls, one owl that would howl, like sorry, that would hoot back, and then all of a sudden, all these owls just went berserk. Like they were like, it was the craziest thing. And I'm filming, so we caught this on camera. But they sounded like owls, but they were off. Like they just sounded like something was trying to make owl hoots. It was
Ah,
the crazy experience. And I'm so happy my video camera was rolling. And and oh, it was, I swear it was like woo, 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 like all at once. And the tracker, he was a hunter. He also did hunting for 30 years in that forest. and he physically saw a Sasquatch like very close to him walking away. It blew his
Oh,
mind, and he took us into this area where he had that experience. And yeah, it was crazy. And he said he's been in the forest for 30 years hunting, tracking, camping. He has never heard something like that with the owl sounds. Like
oh,
even I mean, I know owl sounds. Like I've heard owl sounds. I could tell you four of the owl species out here. And we were listening to a Bart owl, and that was the one that was hooting. And then all of a sudden, all these owls. It was strange, Bob. Extremely strange, but it was
it
fun though.
sounds it sounds it as though you're having a great fun as well.
I've met some
Excitement.
amazing people.
When you come across some of these people who've seen something, can you tell if they're not telling the truth?
Sometimes people go right, they go left field. Sometimes, or I'll catch them in a fib. Right, they're
You catch them out.
yeah, they're yeah. Sometimes, but I'm not really out there trying to catch people in a lie. Like I'm not purposely out there. I'm documenting everything, and I'm just letting people be the judge of what people are telling you, and I'm just, I mean, obviously, if someone is like one guy, he just, yeah, he was going to take me way off into the forest, and all he was going to show me was an area where he saw grass that was pushed down, which is fun and dandy, but I want more evidence than just grass pushed down. That's it. Because they're like all animals push grass down. All of them. Deer, elk,
Yeah.
moose, bears, panthers, cougars, chickens. They all do it. Squirrels, chipmunks, my arch enemy, the chipmunk. They all push down, you
Why
know.
do you, why, why do you say the arch enemy?
Well, because the chipmunk is have you ever heard a chipmunk in the forest?
No, I haven't.
They
No.
sound like an elephant. They make so much noise. It's either that or the armadillo. They both can sound like an elephant running through the forest, like the chipmunk. If you watch my documentaries, I always poke fun at the chipmunk. And I'll tell you now why I joke about the chipmunk. Because when I was like 16, went camping with a bunch of friends. We're out by Harrison, and this is Bigfoot territory. And I wasn't into Bigfoot back then. I mean, we all heard the stories of Sasquatch and all that back. And we're all sitting around the campfire. Then all of a sudden, there was all this crunching in the forest, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, is it a bear? Oh my gosh, oh my god, oh my gosh, it's coming, it's coming!" So everyone scatters, and we all jump behind. And I'm like, "Guys," he's like, "Well, maybe it's a bear." And so where I'm hiding with my friends, and all of a sudden this little chipmunk comes running out of the forest, and I started laughing so hard. And from that day forward, when I see my friends, the joke is, better be careful. That chipmunk might get you.
So
Right? And that's why. That's why
what,
yeah.
what you got planned for the future?
So I'm gonna be doing documentaries and going on expeditions searching for other creatures. The flying dinosaurs of New Mexico, Dogman, uh, the Jersey Devil, Mothman. I did look into, I went deep into the jungles of Mexico and Belize looking for a 30-foot caiman or a crocodile in the middle of the jungles. I found they showed me where the slide is. They were shocked that it wasn't sitting in that area, that on the bank, because they say it's there all the time. But the slide was probably about 5 feet wide, which is quite huge
Well, of course it is.
for
Yeah.
a crocodile. Still not saying it was the 30-footer that they talk about, but I did see other ones that were 10 feet, 12 feet out there. But yeah, I'm going after other cryptids, not just the Bigfoot, you know. So I'm going to be doing that probably come next summer. I'm starting to speak at Bigfoot conventions and festivals now, so that's exciting. And I'm hoping I can, like I said, I'm hoping to come to England in the future and you know, speak at some of the conventions that they have out there. So, you know,
Yeah, well, get in touch with Paul Sinclair then.
yes, I'll look. If you send me a link to him, I can talk to
I will
him,
do.
make plans to come
I
out
will
there.
do. Yeah.
I'd love to meet people
And
out
you're
there.
still, yeah, and still doing your documentaries.
Yep, still going to be doing my documentaries. I got 5 coming out.
Where can people find your documentaries then?
So you can find them on Plex.tv. You can find them on Tubi TV. You can find them on Amazon Prime Video. If you just Google my name, Jason Kenzie, Animal Adventures, you'll find all the behind the scenes of my animal adventures. You can actually go, if you Google Sasquatch, Jason Kenzie Sasquatch, you'll find everything. I do have a website. It's called searchingforsasquatch.ca. You can find me on on Instagram. You can find me I do have a Facebook called Searching for Sasquatch. So you can find me on Facebook. Yeah, you can just Google my name. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Have you got any books out then? Yeah.
I do. I did a couple, I did 4 children's books called
Oh,
Adventures of Little JJ. This is Rescued at Cryptid Island.
brilliant.
So I did that one. And then I did another one called Adventure. So it's called,
JJ.
to,
Lil.
the quest to save Bigfoot. So it's about a 6-year-old
Right.
little boy that uses his imagination to travel around the world.
Oh, brilliant.
This is my very first one. There's 4 of them, and he just
JJ.
basically likes meeting people and animals. And this one is under the ocean, so if people like the ocean, you can find them
Yeah.
online. Also, I do have another book called Everything We Know About the Legendary Bigfoot. And so when you open it, it's blank.
Yeah. But it's interesting, but you've done some for children because I presume they must hear stories about Bigfoot and want to know a little bit more about them.
Yeah. I mean, why not tell children, hey, go into the forest and play? There's monsters that will take you. Yay!
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's great.
Rebecca just said, very interesting. Thank you, Jason. Great kids' books. Steph has just said, great show once again, Bob. Hope Jason can come back on the show in the future.
Yes, I would like that. And please, everybody, I appreciate it if you will share my documentaries with everyone and just let the word out. It really helps me, it's not cheap to do the traveling and to make my documentaries. I work on a very low budget, and every little bit of word that gets out there kind of helps get people out there into the forest.
Yeah, well, it does, doesn't it? I know when Paul did his documentary called Wolfland, he did it on a limited budget, and it's on Amazon Prime. It's Paul's.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to his name.
Do you guys have any streaming, like free video streaming platforms out in England? Like
Uh,
North America has Tubi, right? It's free streaming. It's like Netflix but free. So
I
I
think
wonder
there
if
is. I
Britain,
think there is over here. I think there
what's
is.
that?
Yeah, I think there is, Jason.
If
Some
you can
freemish stuff.
find one, send me the link, and what I can do is I can talk to the distributor and see if he can contact the video streaming platform out there in Britain, and maybe I can get my documentaries out there. You can find it on YouTube too. I do have, if you put searching for Sasquatch into YouTube, you can actually find about 3 of my Bigfoot documentaries on YouTube.
All right. I know you've sent me a couple of links, haven't you, in a
Yes,
text message? So I can always send them to the girls in the chat room, and they can get it out there as well for you.
yeah, that would be great. You know, just to get people to go and just, if you like adventure, you guys might like my Bigfoot documentaries.
I'm sure they
I,
will do. I'm sure they will do.
I'd like to do a UFO one, but I'm waiting for the right time because there has to be a few things I have to do before I can do a UFO or one of those. I have 3 paranormal documentaries I've done. I went out and investigated ghosts, and I just got back from filming 2 more just in the
Oh,
States, and that was
oh,
crazy.
good.
Yeah, that was
Interesting.
crazy. There was they said, Jay, come with us. There's a door that when you ask it to open, it opens on command.
Oh,
So I'm like,
interesting.
being a skeptic, I walk down, and now they said this door opens up, and one of the ladies say, can you please open the door? And the door opened on command. So I walk over and I slam the door. I put the door closed, and then I walk back. I took a step back and I said, okay, can you please open the door? And it opened on command. I'm like, well, maybe the house is crooked. So I took the door and I put my shoulder into it and I slammed it, jiggled it to make sure that it was kind of jammed.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, now you can open the document. Now you can open the door. And it opened on command. I was like, what the? So I took it. I put my shoulder into it, slammed it cut, and I said, listen here, don't you open that door again. I don't want you to open that door. Stop it. I took a step back. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm kidding. You can now open the door. To this day, it doesn't open. It doesn't open again.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh
Well,
my
you
God.
know what? I can't say to this day, but I can tell you I took a step back and I said, okay, you can open the door now. It did not open. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. You can open the door now. And when I left and talking to him, it didn't open again. So it was just really weird. Yeah.
Very weird. Very weird.
But thank you
Well,
so much for having
hey,
me on your
thank you,
show, Bob.
Jason, for coming on the show. It's been very interesting. Everybody in the chat rooms enjoyed it. Joanne
Oh,
said
good. Thank
enjoyed
you, guys.
this, found it very interesting. Diane said she'd enjoyed it as well. So it's great. But hope you have a lovely weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Keep
Thank
getting
you.
out there and researching.
I will. I will. And
Keep
I will.
getting your documentaries out.
Thank you. And I will say my goodbye, and I'll send you the link to the YouTube, and you can kind of post that for everyone to see. And you know, Diane,
Yeah, well,
Rebecca, Steph, you know, Joanne. I hope you guys all enjoy it and share
Rebecca.
it with your friends.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you so much.
thank you.
See you, Bob. Bye.
Thank you. You take care. Bye.
Bye.
My guest next Wednesday is Jacob Cooper. And unfortunately, it's going to be an early start next week. It's going to be at 5 o'clock UK time. That's the only time Jacob could come on the show. So I said, right, that's fine. That's next Wednesday, the 10th of July at 5 p.m. Not 7, 5 p.m. I will say good night and God bless. Bye for now.